Hi there, I'm Haleigh.
And I'm Jonny.
And you're listening to Jonny, Haleigh, Day of
Fun. Who do we have on today?
I don't know. Let's dive in and find out. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for another episode of the Day of Fun podcast. I'm your host, Haleigh, with my brother, Jonny, here. And today we are joined by Stacie Ysidro, who is a sex lifestyle coach and also a certified exotic blueprint coach. We want to learn more about that. Owner and operator of Holistic Progressions, and you also have your St. Pete Retreat Wellness Center. Just a woman with many hats. I love it. Hello, and thank you for joining us.
Hi. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to chat with you. So tell us a little bit about yourself and explain to us what is a erotic blueprint. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So I'm Stacie Ysidro, and I love the term sex lifestylist.
It's fun. I love it.
It is. Yeah, certified sex coach and certified Lead Erotic Blueprint Coach. So obviously this is all within the realms of sexuality, relationship, and also spirituality, because I believe that orgasmic energy is the life force energy that flows through us and makes us alive. And I could feel it like, whoo, my body's like vibrating right now.
Ooh, I love it. No, I'm into it. I was so glad that John connected to you. Because I love the mixing of the spirituality and the sexuality energy.
Yeah, sacred sexuality and coaching. So essentially, the erotic blueprints are 5 different ways that we experience arousal and pleasure in our bodies. And most of us, especially in American culture, really only see like the sexual blueprints, which is penetration, orgasms, nudity, what else, get to the point. That's the deal. What else do you want, right? There's a time and a place for a great fuck.
Not a whole lot of romance or energetic, engagement involved.
Exactly. And like I say, there's a time and a place for a great fuck. And there's also a lot of other things out there and available. So once that kind of starts becoming like, hey, like I get this, what else is there? You start going into the energetic realm, which is the tantra, the buildup, the vibe, the space between. You can get really spiritual and woo-woo and
I love that.
Yeah, or metaphysical. And then you have the sensual blueprint, which is all about the senses. So it's the sound, the smell, the texture, the taste, that romance you were talking about. Yeah. And then there's the kinky blueprint, which is pretty much anything that's different or taboo to you. And I find that most people are way kinkier than they think they are.
How fun. I love that.
Because, okay, do you ever just like to do something because it's like, ooh, we're not supposed to be doing this. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
Kinky.
Like
kinky
I come from black sheep energy 100%. If I'm not supposed to, it's fascinating.
Right. So there you go. And that can be psychological, and that can also be sensation based, more in your body. And then the shapeshifter is a mixture of all of them. So that's the sexual, kinky, energetic, sensual. It's that mixture.
Put them all together.
Yeah. And we believe really like everyone's a shapeshifter, and like there are certain places we gravitate towards or hang out in different states and stages of our sexuality as we go through. So neither one is better than the other. They're just different. And as we learn to accept all parts of ourselves, we get to expand our baseline for pleasure, or understanding of pleasure and capacity for that. So then we're navigating through life from that space rather than this fight, flight, freeze, flip the fuck out, cortisol, stress, so it's like we just try to come back sooner than later. Yeah. So that's, some erotic blueprint stuff there, and some tantra stuff.
I love
Okay.
that. That's so fascinating.
Yeah.
And I really do love the incorporation of like that energy into, right? It's like getting into your body in a physical sense, but also being aware of the energy that surrounds that, right? Like it's so much more because you can have those energetic sensations as much as you can have the physical sensations, right? And like mix them all together just heightens the pleasure, right?
Yeah, they're all intertwined.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for
So,
sure. I
so
was gonna
yeah, so
ask.
that's the difference.
Okay. I was gonna ask you, what would you say are some of the main reasons clients come to you for coaching?
So at this point in my career, because we're going on, over 10 years, I started doing coaching in general, like business and life coaching stuff in 2008, 9, and then really dove into the sexuality piece in 2010, 9, 10. And so where I'm at today is actually in partnership and with my husband, Jonny. His name's Jonny too.
How fun.
Jonny Vajra. And so I've been attracting a lot of couples lately because
Okay.
we've been together, and as my journey has progressed over time, I've attracted different types of clients and worked with different types of people. So I worked with single people for a long time, single men for a long time, couples. And so, yeah, at this point, it's people that want to figure out like what else is there. And then
The
sometimes,
flame kind of went out per se.
yeah, or just that like, hey, we're in a space now to where we're actually willing to prioritize our pleasure and our time together in a relationship. Because most of the times, I mean, y'all look pretty young, but like my kids are 18 and 24. So there was a time when I was single momming it, and
Mhm.
I was not willing to prioritize that type of relationship. So I chose other styles of relating,
Mhm.
Yep.
and at this point I'm in a different place, and so now I'm choosing this style of relating. And so yeah, it's everyone in between. Dealt with people that think they have some type of like addiction or compulsive behavior towards porn or sex or love, all those things. So I've gone through a journey myself of reframing a lot of that and breaking out of that um, addiction mentality loop cycle,
Right. Or the cycle that tells you
that
that it's like, it's
you're
again that
broken.
idea of it's wrong, or yeah, there's
Yeah,
something
you're
wrong
Yep.
with you for
broken,
having
and
those
you're
very
always
natural
going to be
desires.
broken, and you have to do these specific things for the rest of your life. And it's like, wait a minute, if I can manifest all this other stuff and I have free will and choice and like, intuition and trust and inner guidance, then how come I can't about this and I'm supposed to listen to a bunch of other people that are just as fucking nuts as I am, or, beyond? So yeah, like obviously there's some energy around that. So that's been a latest greatest too. So applying that even to sexuality and the seeking aspect of that coaching realm and personal growth and development or career, the next latest greatest thing and the next achievement, and then it's like, what else is there?
Yeah.
So sexuality really, it's kind of like the deepest quantum realm leap that you can make in the rest of your life and in personal growth and spiritual growth and development. Because starting from here, it goes out. And most of the time, people will start all the way out here and do all these different things. And then they're still like, wait, what else is there? And this is the last thing. It's usually sex and money.
Yeah. Right.
Those are the two, like, ooh, don't talk about that, or death. Ooh.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of like it's some deep transformational stuff, and it's fun, and it doesn't have to be that big of a fucking deal. I think people
Yeah.
oh, so yeah, just creating a space where there's non-judgment, and you're pretty much not going to say anything that's going to be shocking or offensive to me at this point. It's coming from a place of curiosity and compassion and love, and seeing like people as people and conscious beings with choice, and that you're not broken and I'm not broken. And it's a matter of just, hey, I want something different now. And it could be because something sucks, right? That's a great
Yeah.
motivator.
Yeah,
And
that definitely is.
because we want something different or see something different or creating a vision, a hope of something else. And so that's the coaching realm. It's like, now and moving forward without the pathologizing. So the therapy stuff is I'm stuck in the past and there's something wrong and I need to be diagnosed and treated so I can come into this present. So it's a pathologizing of the things. And I do believe there is a time and a place and a space for that. And that's not what I do. So I can
Yeah.
work in conjunction with, or, say, hey, that's not my bag of tricks. This is how I can support you where you're at in your journey. So yeah, those are some kind of key things to note about, like, hey, this is a coaching realm, and this is the perspective I'm coming from,
Yeah.
and
Well,
why
and
I would someone like you.
I do. I love
Yeah.
your approach to this, and the again, that mixing of like the energy, spirituality, growth, and the sexual energy, and so I wonder if you can talk about, because on some of your other content that we were checking out, like your YouTube channel and other interviews you've done, you do talk about some of the stigmas that do surround sex and sexuality, right? And the very societal sort of, I don't know if you want to say oppressive or how you would want to put it, but just not being able to sit in your sexual energy and be comfortable with it. So can you talk to us a little bit about that sort of element of learning to get comfortable with yourself and your own sexual energy, and not attaching those sort of shameful or guilty feelings towards it, right?
So yeah, it's acknowledging that we all have some programming, whether it was, directly told to us or not. So it could be indirectly. We still learn, right, from culture, society, all the things. And yes, that can create a lot of guilt and shame and ideas of like things that we're supposed to quote unquote be that may not be who we really are. And I think that as we get older, we realize those inconsistencies. And from an early age, we just, that you get beaten to submission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be dramatic. But ultimately, it's like, we get the software programming into our hard
Yeah.
drive. And then now we're trying to reprogram, right? Now we get an update because we have new information, but we're operating with this old system. And for us, why it is so challenging, I believe, is because like one of my mentors put it as, when our computer or our phone updates, like we turn it off and then it does a bunch of stuff and then it has to turn all the way back on and you have to wait, and then it's different now. But like we don't shut down, we're like in real time. So all this wonky shit happens,
and you're
like
still trying to function day to day through all the mess and the nonsense.
Right, exactly. And so how that relates to what you asked is understanding that we're changing in real time. And so it's okay that we're going to get off track or fuck up, and be okay with that. So it's compassion and acceptance, and just know that, hey, it's okay. That's going to happen. Of course, that's going to happen. This is what I've been doing for 30 years or 20 years or 5 years. Cool, great. I saw it. Now I'm just going to try again. And so we call it coming back sooner than later, and then trying again, and then finding practices to stay here in this space. So whether that is like meditation, or you're having conversations, or you're journaling, like there's all these things you could do to help to integrate and reinforce and draw in and be in that state of, where you want to be, or your new programming. And then, so there's practices. There's the compassion and empathy, understanding. There's also having a vision of hope of something different. And that's kind of the key thing. And something I really kind of, okay, so like Joe Dispenza, do you ever read his stuff?
Big,
okay, great. So
On
that's
it.
what he's telling you to do. Tune into this vision of hope or something that you want, that you're creating, and you're tuning into that. right?
Tune into that frequency and that energy of not the things that I experienced in the past that make me mistrustful, that make me feel like I can't approach this in a healed and comfortable way where you can really feel safe, right? In that sort of pleasure energy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so it's determining what exactly is that, because we're wired to figure out what's not working right now. Because I'm great at finding out what is wrong. I can find lots of shit if I put my mind to it, even if I don't try. That's how we're wired. Keep ourselves safe, like you said, right? So the practice is, okay, well, what do I want then? Okay, well, I don't want someone that lies to me. Okay, great. I want a relationship with honesty and open communication. Perfect. Those are really big words. So tune into that frequency, but now you kind of have to land the plane a little bit more. What does that literally look like in your daily life? What conversations are you having with someone to know that there is honesty and openness? What practices are you doing to ensure that that's what's happening? And granted, you could still get a situation where there's going to be deception, right? So you're never fully 100% safe or have control. So it's realizing that safety is an illusion and control is an illusion. The only thing that I can do is practice what I know and have these conversations to do my part and trust and believe, like, hey, I'm doing the best I can for my space. So now it's not up to me, it's up to the universe or them and anything else. Now I get to decide. So it's like reclaiming the personal autonomy and responsibility and power for ourselves.
I love that. I really love that approach. And again, just that energy of that, right? You have to accept yourself and love yourself enough to be able to take that risk and be vulnerable. And because there is no guarantee that you're going to, like you say, you might end up in a deceptive situation, even with your best, best efforts to be in a different space than that, right? Like you can't control others. You can only really control your own little space. So you got to cultivate that safe space within yourself in order to be able to move past when those things do happen.
Yeah, and so that's kind of like that journey of that vision, right? So it's tuning into, there's a frequency and a vibe of it, and then there's some big words that we start to feel, and we get some thoughts and images and body sensations, but we got to land the plane. That's what I call it. And then we learn from that, then we learn from that again, and then we get more big words.
I love it.
And that's where wisdom happens. And then we try it again. And so it's being willing to keep doing that and keep doing that over and over again, that creative process over and over again.
Yeah.
And trying to gain the wisdom from it. Yeah.
I love it. I love that.
I was going to ask you, like, being that, like, navigating today's dating world with all the apps and being a short-term dating world, how do you coach people that are looking for a relationship or just casual? Like, do you just, if you want casual, do you just, like, I don't know, if they're shy, how do you get that person to like themselves before people can like them?
It's a little bit, John and I were kind of talking about it. Like, you have to know what you want. Do I want a casual dating situation? Do I want a relationship? And
because I don't judge.
Right. No judgment, but you want to, again, like, if I'm being honest about what I want and you expect to, like, how do you navigate the digital dating world and the dating world as it is now, the things that you have to sort of sift through, I guess, to find what it is you actually want.
Oh my God. Yeah. The digital stuff, you totally have to kiss a lot of frogs is what I call it. And I mean, there's ways you can filter and get very specific. And exactly what you were saying is getting really specific with yourself and knowing that. And then it's learning to communicate that with other people. So now they have an opportunity to authentically respond. So one of the big deals, if you want, I can teach you. It's a brief thing that relates. It's we call it like setting a container.
Okay.
So Yeah. Do you want me to tell you?
I would,
Mhm.
yeah, I'd love it. I mean,
Okay. And
listen,
it relates to this. Okay.
the spiritual realm is
So,
a place that I'm comfortable in. So if you got some breathing
so
techniques or whatever, we're here for
no,
it.
this is super practical. So going
Love
into
that.
these situations, right? These
Mhm.
dating situations, one, what is your desire? What do I want out of this?
Mhm.
Okay, I'm in general. Okay, and now with this one person, because that could be
Yeah.
different with this one person, right? Okay, and then what are my boundaries here with this person or with this situation that I'm going into? Okay, well, I really don't want to fuck tonight. Like maybe like we could do some hand stuff, but whatever,
Yeah.
or no, actually, I'm just, whatever it is,
Mhm.
where are my boundaries? Don't, I'm not doing butt stuff today, or don't touch
Mhm.
my face, or
No, I love
whatever.
it.
And then for what we do, there's safe words, which is knowing when you need to pause and do a check-in.
Mm-hmm.
So for this
Mhm.
purpose of this, you're doing a check-in with yourself, okay? Because we use this with other people, right? But for me, it's like, okay, am I still agreeing here? Yeah, I'm still a yes in this situation while I'm in it. Okay, now I already knew I set myself up. What are my yeses and nos going into this?
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
then I go into it and we're writing it out. And then maybe things are getting a little different or something is
Mhm.
changing. Maybe I need a minute, a yellow,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
to step and go to the bathroom or check in with myself. Okay, do I actually want to have another glass of wine? Or do I want to go with these people? Or do I want to go home? Or do I want to drive? Or whatever it is. Do I
Mm-hmm.
want to take my clothes off? Do
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I want a cock in my mouth?
What the questions you have to
Yeah.
ask yourself.
This is real. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, great. So, okay, and then you get to decide for yourself. Okay, you know what? Actually, I'm kind of moving into where my no was for the evening. So I'm gonna make an exit strategy.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna communicate when I come back. Hey, you know what? I'm actually feeling like wrapping this up here in the next hour or
Mhm.
so and heading out.
Yeah.
And then that way the person knows. And then the red is like the full stop situation. Like you're like, oh fuck, I'm out of here. Bam, like
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
end scene, done, crisis. Like, so the issue is you don't want to get to there. Sometimes reds happen, but if you
Mhm.
can like check in with yourself before
Mm-hmm.
you get
Yep.
there, then you're going to have a better time. Right. And then now,
Mhm.
after you went out on this adventure, now you have some aftercare because you get home and you're like, oh shit, did I just do that? I was
Yeah.
like, well, how do I feel about that? Or, oh, I really like this person, or oh, that fucking sucked, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So what do I want to take care of myself
Mhm.
after a new experience? I want my chocolate. Maybe I want to have a bath. Maybe I want to talk to my friend or my other
Mhm.
partner, or I want to watch a show, or I want to work out, like whatever it is. Like, what do I need to do to
Mhm.
come back into me to feel good about myself?
Yeah.
And then now that I know these things about me, when I go out with someone, I'm in tune for a way better time because
Mhm.
one, I can speak into exactly with this person. You know what? I really just want to go to dinner and have a few drinks and, you
Yeah.
know, call it a night. Like that's really where I'm at right now. And I'm open to something different in the future, but this is my intention for tonight. Are you okay with that?
Mhm.
Well, really, I wanted to fuck. And if we're not fucking, then I'm not going out with you. Okay, cool. No problem. Or, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine, that's fine. And then you get
Mhm.
no showed. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
more information. And so
Yeah.
that's not about you, that's about them. You said, hey, this
Right.
is where I'm at.
Mhm.
Or, okay, great. I am moving into a sexual space with this person.
Mhm.
Am I the type that do I want to be called the next day? Is that something that's important to me that like I'm acknowledged as a person just because I
Mhm.
know my own, you know,
Like
nervous
how you get
system?
caught in your, get caught in your
Yeah.
Right.
headspace
Like
out of
maybe
some of those
you
things.
have
Mhm.
more anxious style and you
Mm-hmm.
feel and that after day text makes you feel better. And
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
hey, I'm going or I know that I'm not going to want to talk to you for 3 days. So don't fucking
Mhm.
call me or I'm going to
Yeah.
think you're too weird. And that's no, so
Yeah.
I'm going to be able to say, hey, I really wanted step into this space, and I'm totally yes to this. And I know for myself, like, I may not want to talk for another day or two. Is that okay with you? Like, because I don't want to have hurt feelings, and
Yeah.
or hey, I really do love that. Can you, I know that may not happen, and I'm making a
Yeah.
request here.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, to your point too, it's like a no can be a very telling thing, because guys are so fucking insecure. You know what I mean? If like, you can tell there's gonna be a jealous person if you tell them that and they freak out and text you every 20 minutes. It's like, I was interested, but not really
yeah,
anymore.
now I'm not. Yeah. And so, and that's the thing, because I think is what happens is, we all have these ideas of how things are supposed to be, and ideas of if we do something, it means that. So
Yeah.
we're all giving different meanings to
Mhm.
this one thing. And so if we can be really clear on the meaning that something has for me and you right now, then now we're very clear and we can consent to this. But if I think that this means something different and you
Yep.
think that it means something different and we're just playing along, then of
Mhm.
course someone's going to get their feelings hurt and upset. And now we have more
Yep.
reasons to reinforce our shitty story about
Yep.
why
Yeah.
XYZ, fill in the blank. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, let's take our power back and practice
Mhm.
trying to tell these people these things, or practice trying to figure out what the fuck it is that I want in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
So I
that's it.
can let you know. I don't know, but I'm trying to figure it out.
Well,
Are you
yeah.
okay with that?
No.
Mhm.
Yeah, me too. I don't know either. Great.
Yeah.
Let's just wander blindly through the mist.
Well, yeah. I mean, and
You
the big
know?
thing too is, like, I've been in relationships that start out as just casual, and then I
Mhm,
explained to them that I just want a casual relationship. I'm not in it. And then 2 months down
mhm.
the road, they changed their mind. Well, we kind of started this as just what it was. So, you know what I mean? It's like, I haven't changed my mind, and then somebody gets
Right.
in and start, when you could have just been honest in the beginning.
And
But you
and
have to
there's
navigate. Are you
check-ins.
being? Yep, for sure.
There's check-ins, because when, knowing this now from the beginning, being
Mhm.
single is a great asset, because
Yeah.
you're not in it. And then now all of a sudden you're trying to have these conversations and it's like, whoa, wait, what? This
Yep.
has been what it is for how many years, and now we're talking about this? Like, that's
Mhm.
weird too. But if we start out having this conversation, then it is natural for us. Yeah, we've been hanging out for 3 months and doing
Yep.
this casual thing. I just want to check in with you. Like, I'm feeling really good about where that is, and this
Mhm.
is what this means to me, and this is the value that
Mhm.
this has to me in my life in this capacity. And
Okay.
I'm really a yes to this right now. I'm really enjoying, being able to prioritize my career and my kids and having that time to myself.
Yeah.
I don't want to mix this relationship with all of that.
Yeah.
I want this for what this is. This
Mhm.
is feeding this. Are you okay with that? Or, hey, you know what? I'm really feeling a desire to include you in some
Mhm.
of these things in my life. Are you open to or willing to participating in, going somewhere where my kids are going to be? Or,
Yeah. Yeah.
my mom is XYZ. Will you come with me to this? Or,
Yep.
So
Okay.
that's something that we were gonna kind of roll into and talk about too. Was, I mean, so like John and I, like, I'm 37, he's 35, we are single, and like no kids, don't want kids. But obviously, navigating the dating realm where we're at, like a lot of people our age are, if they are out there dating, they're probably divorced and have kids, right? Or you have people who do still want to have kids, but and
mhm,
a lot of it obviously does come down to like the communication, right? Being able to know
Yeah.
yourself well enough and then being comfortable communicating with someone else. But I mean, so like John, though, for example, like you were talking about how the second someone says that you say, I don't want kids, they assume it means you don't like kids, right?
Yeah.
And then there's
And
the
let's be
judgment.
realistic. I'm 35. I'm not going to be in a lot of relationships that they don't have kids. So it's something that I mean, and I don't have kids,
mhm,
but they look at that as a negative. Why hasn't he had kids? Why hasn't
mhm.
he been married? It's not a negative. It's just a life choice. But explaining that to somebody that you just met is very difficult.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, when you're really
Mhm.
upfront, I was doing that. I was super upfront about that
Mhm.
too when I was dating. And I think it goes back to, again, she's, or whoever it is placing a meaning on not having kids, because honestly, like, face it, that's a huge stigma. Like, I was just listening to some other podcasts, one of my girlfriends does, and she interviewed a woman that was like standing in that decision to not have kids, you know, and creating a group of people that are choosing to not have kids for whatever reason. Because she's like, there's all these mom groups and parent groups, and there's all this stigma around not having kids, like there's something wrong with you, or you're not a real woman or man or this or that. And I think that there's a real value in speaking into that, and there's a power in that. And there's also, it doesn't mean, again, that you don't like kids, and it doesn't mean that you're not a father or mother or parent figure to other people and children in your life. You could be open to, oh, they're, you know what, the kids are older, they're kind of doing their thing, I'm good with that. You know, or, you know what, I don't want biological kids, like I don't want to have to go through that, but this is actually kind of cool that this 5-year-old thinks I'm like the best thing ever. You know, okay, you know, that's his dad, you know, I don't have to be his dad. You know, I'm a different person to him, so that's not as stressful as like, oh, you have to take on the responsibility of, you know. So yeah, it's like, what does that mean to you? What do you want that to look like? What role am I willing to play in someone's life, you know? And so I think that's really what the conversation is, because besides kids, you have parents, you have siblings, you have friends, you have jobs and careers. So really, you're kind of in a relationship with all those people at some point, or things.
Well, right. And, you know, I really do like, you know, holistic progressions is such a like great way, because you do have to integrate all of these different things, you know, all the different facets of your life. You know, they meet each other in each different, you can compartmentalize all you want, right? But they all meet each other in you, because you're the one who is interacting with each of these different relationships and each of these different compartmentalized arenas, right? So again, just that, like, knowing yourself well enough and being comfortable communicating what you know about yourself. And I mean, I suppose the other part of it is just being able to like let it go when you have been honest and upfront and haven't been met with the same honesty, or haven't been met with the same sort of openness, right? And being willing to just kind of like let that person go, or let that circumstance go, kind of thing.
Yeah, like you're talking about, like when things don't go as we would want them to, or as we thought they would, or when things go, differently than what we would have liked. Navigating that. That's huge. That's a lot of what I think Tantra is about also, because we kind of think of like life, and we're leaning into all these, like this vision of hope thing, right? And in our minds, at least for me, everything's like rainbows and sunshine and fucking amazing with chocolate and wine or something, you know, like in flowers. And you know, nobody's sad or like upset or painful.
Well, and you know, I think that's
in real life.
In real life, but
you get all those things.
But I think if you can find a way to sit in that pleasurable energy, right? Again, without the stigma, without the sort of all the negativity that can be attached to it, well, then it is easier to see the sunshine and rainbows, and it is easier to move through the other negative things.
But you know what the other stuff is, though, is the dark stuff. It's the shadow stuff. This is my jam, is the learning.
This is my jam, me too.
This is learning to sit in that discomfort and understand and learn to find the ecstasy in the depth of the pain and the sorrow and the sadness and the struggle. And so it's not cultivating it. It is allowing it to be when it arises, without shame and judgment and guilt as well. You know, there's not shame and judgment and guilt for this quote unquote good stuff, but what about this too? And can I move between these two with more grace and ease? Because we're going to get both.
Right.
And
with less judgment.
we are yeah, we are the totality of both of those polarities. And that's kind of that Tantra non-duality type thing. Good, bad, is there really? It's kind of same.
It
Really.
is. I really
Yeah.
love this, what you're getting into here. So if you can like delve into this just a little bit more, because I do,
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and say, like, I am someone that personally, like, I can get really deep into that shadow self, right? Like, I
Yeah.
absolutely can. And there are times that I have sat and kind of said to myself, like, what do I just enjoy this? I must just enjoy this sort of misery. And what the hell is wrong with me that I just must enjoy sitting in this shadow darkness demon self of mine? Like, what the fuck is this? But it's still part of who you are, and there's still something valid in it. So learning to be comfortable even in that. So dive into this a little bit more, because this
Okay.
fascinates me.
So this is the deal. And this is why relationships are so powerful. Because when I'm by myself, I'm good, right?
Yeah.
I don't have to look at all that shit. I don't see my shadow. That shit's behind me, you
Mhm.
know? But
Mhm.
now I'm in relationship with someone that's mirroring back to me all of the parts of myself,
Mhm.
right? And so now I'm actually starting to see and getting called out on when there's an inconsistency between the inner and the outer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I can be saying one thing, but my body language and the tone of my voice is doing something else,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so it's starting to get all of those into alignment. And I think how that starts happening is, one, we start realizing when we're in those polarities because
Yeah.
we're getting called out on them. We start realizing when I call it like doom and gloom. And I've got a little like Yosemite Sam that just needs to cuss about a bunch of stuff right quick. And then it feels like, okay, now it's fine, whatever,
Mhm.
So it's like finding, it's one, noticing when is my shadow, or when is that driving the bus now? That part of me is showing up.
Mhm.
And then, okay, great. And what does it need? And how
Yeah.
can I find a way to set a safe space for me to explore this concept
Mhm.
and energy that is not disruptive, of my
Mhm.
daily life, like people that are always kind of picking fights, and
Right.
they love that kind of drama chaos thing. Well,
Right.
guess what? Can we set a container,
Mhm.
to where you
Yeah.
can be the victim, and then you can do, I can be,
Mhm.
the one that whatever,
Like, oh yes,
whatever,
I'll play the villain and you play the
right?
prey
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
hot second. I'll be the bad guy. Like, we'll play
right.
that
You want to
game.
shock, or yeah, let's do, whatever this drama triangle is,
Mhm.
that's perpetuating the schism. It's okay, great. Like, you existential kinked it. There's a book called
Mhm.
Existential Kink, and that's exactly what she's talking about. What part of me is loving the suffering
Mhm.
that I
Mhm.
keep perpetuating it, right? And like, even in Tony Robbins' world and hierarchy of needs things, it's filling
Mhm.
at least 3 of those human needs, even if
Mhm.
it's suffering. Okay. So why are we still doing this here? And if it's causing that much disruption, can I get these needs met in a contained, safe space?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. And so what that could look like is, yeah, maybe I just need to step aside and go say a bunch of cuss words and stomp my feet like a 2-year-old, and then come back, and
Yeah.
be, whatever. Or do, like one of our mentors, Lori Hansler, taught like the hand scream. She's like, I can't like flip out in a meeting. I'm going to go in the bathroom and like
Yeah.
freeze
Yep.
my hands in the
Mhm.
stall and then I can come back out. So it's emotional release. So finding healthy ways to emotionally, process all
Mhm.
of those things that are coming up, and containering it. And that's kind of also too why I love sexuality and like kink,
Mhm.
because it's taking an erotic persona stuff, which is another deal, but you can take parts of you,
Mhm.
right? Like, oh my gosh, like I just, you know, common theme. I'm really powerful or directive in life. I'm
Mhm.
always doing and directing everything and everyone, and I just want a space to relax and not have to do anything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So sexually, maybe I want to be in a space where I can be surrendered and submissive
Yep.
and allow, within a container. And so now I have this time and space set aside for me to really let go.
Mm-hmm.
And we set the container of all the things I'm a yes and a no to. We've got a safe word for me to to pull the cord, and and we have the aftercare piece. So I'm going over here to do this for myself. And now when I come back, I feel way better about taking control of everything because I took care of myself.
Yeah.
So, and that may not look like a crazy kink saying or something, but it could be taking a bath or going on a walk or meditating or journaling, whatever that is for you. But it's finding ways to acknowledge and love those parts of ourselves that we say are bad and we want to keep hidden. The jealousy ones, the control ones, the fear and unworthy and not enough, and all of that. So it's loving those parts and finding the ecstasis in those, because that's how you can really flow between them. Because once you create a space or at least acknowledge them and love them, then they're no longer unconsciously driving the bus. They will emerge when it's time. You'll get in a situation, well, there'll be some questionable boundaries, and your protector will show up and say, for me, Jessica will be here, and somebody, Stan, will be like, what's going on around here?
I love this.
So my team will show up in my brain, and
I love
something
this.
will
Like
happen.
I have such exactly that brain too. I have like
your
all
characters.
the multiple characters
Yeah,
that
your
you have your
Of course.
that you have your meetings with.
Yeah.
I love this. You and I could talk for hours about that. I feel like
that's kind of how we see it, and so as we integrate all of those parts of us, we're more whole. And then we're going into dating, family, work, life, and we don't have these parts that are unconsciously showing up that are, I'm not going to call them back, fuck them, or I'm going to say some shit, I'm going to show them, or, and then you can choose.
I was gonna say back, like, kind of to what you were talking about with like feeling stigma because you want to explore different parts of your sexuality and stuff like that. How do you encourage people to just not give a shit? Because like I was a very closed off individual at one point in my life, and then I moved to a bigger town, and then I kind of took that as an opportunity to kind of just reinvent myself. And like I'm straight, but I'm open to explore whatever with a woman. But like, how do you encourage people just to say, I don't, what the fuck, who cares what people think of me? Just do it because it makes you happy. How do you encourage that in a person? Because there's a lot of like closed off, prudish people that are afraid of self-image.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And again, it's like, it's past programming that you're reprogramming. So one, it is like we were talking about creating that vision of hope. What does it look like to have those conversations with people, and what are those words? Because I can feel good about it in me, but I've never actually said that out loud or had conversations. Like, so what are those words? So it's practicing like having those conversations, and even if it's with yourself or in the mirror, that you would be having with people that you feel comfortable and confident in. So one, that's a thing. And two, I have a very light answer for you with lots of compassion and love and encouragement. And then I have a dark one that says, guess what? Nobody really fucking cares. They're not thinking about you that much. They're in their own shit just like you. And that's the other thing that helped me, because I think everyone is noticing this one thing, and literally they're all so self-absorbed and self-consumed that they have zero, and so then that realization was like, oh, well, I guess they don't think about me that much.
They're not thinking about me all the time.
That much. All the time. So yeah, but those are kind of the polarities that you could lean into to embrace more of that non-judgment. So there is a part that's kind of like that zero fucks kind of rebellion thing, and then there's also that very deep applicable part of you know, hi, you know, I'm very gender fluid, I'm queer, I'm open to exploring, you know, sexuality with a partner that's gender fluid. I'm open to exploring it's like being gender fluid, or kind of queer means just kind of some blend of like something.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, I'm not gay, I'm not bi, I'm not straight, and I'm not a yes to everyone, and I'm not a no to everyone. So that kind of is like, yeah.
The David Rose, I like the wine and not the label kind of thing, right?
Right, exactly. And so once you know, you can start to have those conversations, that's great. And then now knowing that, where are some places besides the internet, circling back around to your other
the digital
question,
dating.
part B, C, D, E, F, G, finding places. You said you moved to a bigger town. Okay, great. What are some activities that are going on? What are some things that I actually like to do, where I'm going to meet other people, or at least be around other people that I automatically have something in common with? And so you're not just at random, you know, in like a restaurant bar situation. So that's like public random, you know. I'm going to, you know, Sunken Gardens, where it's just tropical gardens, and you know, it's all this landscape from like the past 100 years, and I'm going to go there and meet someone that likes gardening, or we can talk about, wow, look at that palm tree, have you ever seen a flamingo? Whoa, I'm from wherever.
Love it.
But there's, you're creating, is what you need. There's an experiential intimacy, right? There's a perspective or something that both of you need to be leaning into to find a common ground to connect with. And so sometimes the set and setting can be that container for you to create a sense of connection. Right now, from this space, we can start talking about other things. And I would suggest saying, like, exploring platonic things first, because I found that when, like, really, you can have sex with anyone, anywhere, anytime, any place, and like even yourself. And most of the time, that's like really great. So what's the point? Like, can I do something else? Can I actually be around this person and talk to them and enjoy their company outside of, you know, the couple of hours that they may be able to fuck me for, because I don't know how long this is, they can, where they're at, right?
Yeah.
The shapeshifter over here.
Well, we've all had that relationship where it's just a good time.
You know, exactly. And so yeah, it's being friends first and starting to see all of those parts of that person. Okay, is this part jumping out unconsciously and driving the bus unconsciously, constantly? Great. You know what? I can say that to this person if that's the type of relationship I'm in, you know, in a loving way, and be curious. And, you know, whatever happens from there, they can choose to be willing to acknowledge, take action, talk about it, whatever, or not. And then I can choose how I'm going to respond based on what I've witnessed and what I've seen. Or, oh my God, you know what? This person, they're not always jumping back into it. I can see them making an effort not to repeat the same pattern over and over again. They still did it, but it wasn't the same, or it wasn't as bad, or it was, you know what I mean? So we can see each other's effort and willingness. Here.
Watching, because understanding that you're on a journey of, and that you're growing and changing and evolving all the time. Like, the compassion element is like for the other person is that they're also doing that, right? And so I think that's a really great thing, that like getting into that space with yourself allows you to sort of interact with your other relationships, or your platonic relationships, even in a more authentic sort of way, right? Because you're more tuned in to yourself and your own needs.
And when a lot of times I found, when you take the expectation or desire for sex off the table, especially if you have a high sex drive and just like sex, because I like sex, right? But when I remove that from the table, then I can rest in that, and I can feel and know I have desire, and I can be okay that that's there, because now I'm choosing to be here, and this isn't creeping in. That's where things get creepy, right? But so then I can really see all of those parts of that person, and I can really be all of myself, because there's no like ulterior motive of trying to get something or manipulate a situation into getting what I want out of it, because I'm not acknowledging that I really have this desire. I'm just going to act like I don't, and I'm not trying to manipulate, but I am, because my shadow is like, you know,
it's driving the bus.
Yeah, and it's like, oh fuck, you know. So you can start to see, and then it's like, okay, damn, all right, I need to say something, or I need to do or not do something, or I need to put this aside, you know, or lean into this.
I love it. I think that it's a lot about knowing thyself real well, right? And I think that and then just being able to communicate what that is, and being able to accept whatever reaction you get out of it.
Yeah, lots of acceptance. And so yeah, once you start, you know, you're diving into yourself here, and hell, even if it's I'm I'm on this journey, and I'm kind of a clusterfuck, and this is where I'm at right now.
Yep.
Okay, we're at the same event, and I'm open and willing to be friends with you or something. Do you want to, like, you know, text a message, you know, as friends, or do you want to, you know, message, or do you want to possibly get together? Or so you can start to cultivate, because then you actually have to make an effort after that. You know, because I think that's where a lot of people fall short too. We kind of like don't make the effort, and we get distracted. And so sometimes for me, literally scheduling something right then and there, or I know is like, I don't know how this sounds, but I love a scheduled call. Oh my God, I love that shit.
I get hard for a scheduled call too.
I know it's there, and I know that that's the container, and that's the time, and that's the thing. And so I can be a fuck yes to you, because I know exactly what I'm signing up for.
Yeah.
Well, it's punctual.
Exactly. And then you get to learn about that person along the way, and evolve that relationship as it goes. So going back full circle, you can see how, you can navigate the digital age, and you can show up in real life, and you can create a better space, better odds. Right. Based on you. And I will circle back to the blueprints that will actually give you a language to understand and be able to speak exactly how I've been speaking. Because we're finding words for things that we hadn't found words for before. And we're creating practices to practice with ourselves. And then the other piece we haven't touched on yet, which we can wrap with there, is the community aspect. Because a lot of us, you know, we're told to go out and do this in isolation, you know, like you shouldn't have to meet all these people. You don't need any. Well, guess what? Humans are made, and we're fucking animals, and we're in community. And so to me, it's not about, you know, it's about understanding autonomy and also interdependence, and how we all work together and play roles within community. And we have to show up, and we're not expected to go it alone. So if there's a group, like whether it is an online community or a place that you go where you see people regularly, or people that you have in your circle that you can talk with about all of those things, that's really important, because it helps with the integration. Because we can read a book, we can have a coaching session, we can have a retreat, all the things, but then when we go back into our real lives, we need to continue to integrate those experiences and practice them. And so that's why the community is so important. And that goes back to, if you look around for those events and things that you want and you don't see them, then make them. And it doesn't even have to be a big deal. You know, just say, hey, guess what? I'm going here on this day, and this is what I like to do. Show up or not. You know,
join me
I'm
or
going.
don't.
You know, and so not, you know, being having the courage and vulnerability to just, you know, go for it and try something. You know, be willing to make the effort, be willing to fuck it up, because you've got community and you learn through community. So always having people, like we have people that are mentors to us and within community, and people that we are mentors to. And it's like this reciprocal flow of energy in
Mhm.
relationship. And so seeking that in community and creating that, because now you're not alone.
Mhm.
And we have an opportunity to expand and explore, because this type of stuff, it happens like I say it's healing the world one orgasm at a time.
I love it. I'm here for it. That's fantastic.
Yeah. But as a wrap-up question, it's appropriate because we're from the Dakotas. So what would be your Mount Rushmore? What's your top 4 date night movies?
Movies?
Mhm.
Yep.
Ah,
It's date night.
oh,
You
Or
got
top or your favorite movies anyway.
am I like watching the movie or not watching the movie?
You know what? Whatever it is for you. If it is background noise for sexy fun times,
I was
then
gonna
that's
say,
perfectly fine too. However you
usually
want to do
those
it.
moments start
Um,
with the movie credits and then end
okay.
shortly
Yeah.
after that.
One, I'll just preface this that I wouldn't claim to be like an overall movie person.
Okay.
And I tend to like psychological dark type thriller
No,
things.
we do too. Don't
Okay.
worry.
Okay.
Valid.
Yeah, not like horror stuff, but
Yep.
yeah, and I know that my partner loves like some action things.
Okay.
So if we find things to blend with in there, but I would say if you want some okay.
Can't wait.
All right,
Can't
let's
wait.
hear it.
Right. I don't know what kind of date night you want to have. Okay, but I dare you. I dare you to watch that movie Kids,
Okay.
Okay.
like 1996 or 8.
Yep.
That shit
Okay.
might fuck you up.
All right. We're on it.
And then I dare you to watch Short Bus.
Okay. Yeah. I know Short Bus. Yep.
If you haven't already, that one's more
Uh-huh.
recent. And
Yeah.
then another one, I dare you to watch The Secretary
Okay. All right.
for you kinky
I love
motherfuckers.
the dare. I love a good dare. I love it. And give
And
us
then
one more. What do you got?
one
Alright.
more dare you. It's not a movie, but it's Sex, Love, and Goop on Netflix.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
If you are interested in relationships and non-traditional ways of like healing, exploration, all of the things,
Mhm.
my mentor Jaya is featured on there, and you
Yeah.
see her working with a couple with the erotic blueprints. And so you really get to see a lot of what I do personally, a lot about the blueprints and the impact that has in people's lives. Bonus, you see like 3 or 4
Shit.
other modalities of just, with practitioners that are just top of their field. And you
Mhm.
see these couples go through the journey with these practitioners and the transformation it makes. So yeah, you get blueprints and you get a bunch of other modalities and witnessing these couples. Yeah. And that's
And
super fun.
maybe it might help some of those people out there who think that they're kinky and weird to feel like they're not so kinky and not so weird. Everybody's got a favorite flavor, and there's a lid for every trash can, as my sister
For
would
Oh
say.
my
sure.
God, that's hysterical. We say don't yuck someone's yum.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I have a design on my Etsy shop that's just like a little riding whip that says "No kink shaming."
Oh, I love it.
I should get a mug and I'll just send you a mug because you need one.
Yes.
I love it. Well, we do again want to be respectful of your time, but thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah,
This has
thank
been
you.
really great, honestly, and I love your energy. You've got such a great energy that I feel like I've been able to connect with this whole time. That's been lovely. I enjoy it so much. But do let people know. Just we'll put your links in the description, but let people
Mhm.
know who are looking. Where do they go find you?
Yes, so it is stpeteretreat.com
Mhm.
is this beautiful space here. We're in the Zen Courtyard. And also St. Pete Retreat on Instagram. And again, I'm Stacie Ysidro, and it's Sex Coach Stacie Ysidro on Instagram. And Holistic Progressions is my website.
And we will share all those links. And everybody go check out Stacie. This has been so great and so fun. And
Yeah,
you've
it's been
just got
fantastic.
It's such a wonderful, welcoming energy. And in the realm of sexuality, that is absolutely needed. So we appreciate you for being that in this space. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
An honor and a pleasure.
Hey, thanks so much for listening, y'all. I've been Haleigh.
And I've been Johnny.
And this has been Jonny, Haleigh, Day of Fun. Thanks so much for listening. Check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/JonnyHaleighDOF. And we're Jonny Haleigh DOF on Instagram and at gmail.com. Send us your hate mail. We'll read it out loud on the podcast, won't we, Johnny?
For sure.
Awesome. Thanks for listening. Peace out, y'all.
Later.